Welcome everyone to another What's New in Dynatrace. Today we are covering 274. I'm back here with Berkan, and I'm really happy that we do this now on a release by release basis. Berkan, thank you so much for being back with me. How are you doing?
Hi there. All good from my side. Hope it's the same for you.
Same for me. Hey, let's jump right into it. Do me a favor and click to the next slide. So as the format goes, we will quickly introduce the Dynatrace Playground environment for you, in case you don't know. Then Berkan will do the majority of the presentation with all the product updates, bringing the release notes to life. And then in the end, we cover some community and resource updates. Next slide, please. So in case you didn't know, we do have a Dynatrace Playground environment that is open to everyone that has a Dynatrace account. That is, if you're a customer, a partner, or if you are a Dynatrace trial user. If you don't have any Dynatrace account yet, well, just sign up for a Dynatrace trial. Just use that link on the top left. With this, you get full access to the Playground tenant. And on the bottom here, you can see also a GitHub repository where I started to collect a couple of getting started guides, some notebooks and some dashboards where you can explore our Playground tenant and basically apply and work through different use cases. That's enough for me. Berkan, I think I want to now hear from you. What is new in 274?
Yeah, all right. So hi everyone again. This is the parts that we exactly covered in the session. As always, or as you might already know, that you can see the release notes directly in this link. And if you see this video from the documentation, we only cover these changes. You can see under this SaaS release note version. The first change actually is a breaking change we have for string-specific DKL functions. Now we written the new data types, as you see here. For example, the event starts, event end. These are not string data type now. These are the timestamp, and you can see that all the data type change with this updates. So this affects the content. Start with equals operators, for example. And if you have some queries that you need to make it work, that as before, that you need to use this toString function to fix this behavior. Mm-hmm. And you can find this behavior example from documentation by clicking on this link here. And one announcement we have on the API side, we will turn off the thresholds API. You need to migrate your automations to settings API instead, and the whole steps will explained in this documentation. Just go to migration guides. You can also find this from the release notes documentation. Now we have the log record level attributes in log storage configuration, just for information. This is transformed by one agent. It's different than the log status transferred by the server. So these attributes, these log record levels are available in log storage configuration. I will also show you just one example from my environment, how to define these values, these attribute values in your environments. We introduced this new unified analysis screen for Kubernetes nodes. Mm-hmm. So as you see, it is a general behavior, the UI behavior that we already seen in several different views. So now it's also available in Kubernetes nodes. If you are wondering what exactly that updates that we have here, here is the link. You can click on it to see in our Playground environment as an example. And I will also show you in the demo environment what type of fields, that columns, its data available in this view. But of course, it will be, I think, pretty straightforward and easy to understand also for you.
And also, Berkan, this is a good reminder. You have a lot of links here. Folks, if you're watching this, then you will probably find the links also in the description of the video. If you're watching this on Dynatrace University, we will also upload the slides. So you have the links in the slides, but in the description, you should also find all the links that Berkan has listed here. Make it easy for you. Mm-hmm.
And again, as always, I do my tests to see if there is any permission issue with the links, and I test with my personal email address. If you have any permission issues, please share your comments in the YouTube video section, or reach out to our chat team. Maybe I will do some tests to understand if you really check those notebooks. Maybe I will not give you any permission, but we will see it in the future. Okay, we now have advanced Kubernetes label filtering in the same unified screen, unified analysis view for Kubernetes nodes. Here is an example how we use two different node labels as a filtering option and lists the related Kubernetes nodes. We introduce a detailed one-agent status in a unified analysis host page. Again, it is available under properties and text section. I think that's very important for us, that, especially it's for one-agent availability, or same for host availability, actually we introduced recently. So with this way, you will understand if your one-agent is active or inactive, and you will have the detailed status information for up to 24 hours. And you will have if there's any unknown status, and if there's any no data available. And just for information that this also specific information here is comes with a delay up to 5 minutes, but now I think it will help us and reduce your time in your analysis in logs to understand one agent behavior. It's same for host availability. You might remember that we have a great breakdown at status explanation in host availability. So I really see it in a good direction. If you are wondering what exactly how it looks like, it's exactly the same screenshot, but here's the link for you to see from the host itself. We have added the new technology, RK2 technology per PGI. These RK2 agents and servers are now grouped into separate process groups. That's for information. Now, the high system node events will trigger automatically process instance snapshots. I don't have a specific example for this correlated with these events, but I will show you from a host screen how do you do analysis process instance snapshots, which I triggered manually. You can trigger this manually at a host level, host group level, environment level, but now we also have these snapshots automatically with high system node events. Okay, let's jump on our platform. As I mentioned, this is the release notes that you can see that, especially for the other components, this is the part you can check by yourself. But now we are covering these details here. So on the infrastructure sides, as I mentioned, now we have the new log record attribute. To reach this page, you need to go to the settings application on the left side, and under log monitoring section, you will see the log storage configuration. So if I quickly go settings, log monitoring, and log storage configuration, that's it. When you add this rule here, you will see the previous page, which helps you to add the measure values here. And the attribute, we are going to pick here the log record level. And you will automatically see the values are available in the section. And it will be possible also that for you to select a couple of values to narrow down your local sources configuration also in Dynatrace. The next one is the unified analysis of the Kubernetes node screen. Here is how it looks like, except from screenshots. This is the playground environment. You can analyze directly, you can log in directly. And here is the section, you also have these node labels. I mentioned to you that you can add a couple of, that's more than one labels here, applied as a filtering. So once you have it set, it will also dynamically change. As you see in this view. Let's see if we have these two labels exactly available. So briefly, this is what exactly it looks like, the new analysis screen. And on the host view, as I mentioned, we have now introduced the one agent status information. And in this host, one agent running is a really simple feature, but can be effective for different reasons to understand if you really collect data and if your agent is running and everything's okay, your monitoring data. Also, I mentioned the availability details a little bit more, but I will not go into details. This is the part where you can understand the status of your host in a detailed way. The next one I mentioned is the process instance snapshots coming with high system node events. So this is just example of what you see in the process instance snapshots. If you're not familiar with this, in the host page, when you go to your exact host, this is the one that I triggered manually, but this is basically how it looks like that when you have a process instance snapshots are triggered by different conditions like host anomalies, manual requests, or high system load events. And briefly, if you are looking for this is the way how you can do from analysis. This is not available in the main environment, my own environment. Therefore, I don't have also permissions to change in the main environment. So this is why you don't see it here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go with platform features. We introduced new in keywords in your queries as a comparison operator. And this will help you in this example. It helps you, for example, there's a list containing that the list of the servers sorry, in this case, Google Cloud Web Tech. In the example, in the documentation, you will see, I think, servers node tag. I couldn't remember exactly, but this main query gets the DT usage, CP usage for hosts. Within the list applies a filter specifically for this host available in tag. So this is only available tag in Playground environment. Therefore, you will see this example also in notebook I prepared for you, which you should have access, and you can get this link by clicking this URL. The next one is that we introduce array concat function in DQL. So it just helps you to concatenate multiple arrays, concatenate multiple arrays into a single array. And this function skips all null values at non-array input parameter values information. This example is just combining these two different arrays, but if there's no array parameter is available, it returns null, just for information.
Mm-hmm.
You will see this example in the main environment. You can find more details in documentation. You can also see this example in our documentation. I think that's all for the DQL part, but for the platform sides, we have now refreshing database events and problems in Grail every 6 hours, as long as that they are not closed. And for the problems, as long as they are not closed, this will guarantee the query results for problems events by querying 6-hour timeframes. So if you are expecting a bit feature that for this exact that analysis period, I think it will help you to see that your problem statuses in a better way. I think that there is no need for example, just for information. This is updates might be important, also available in release notes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before jumping to security parts, I will show you quickly from the demo what we have. Let's close this one. And when I click on this platform section, here is the in keyword, the comparison operator. As I mentioned, we are using this tag, and this lists fetches this main query takes the CPU usage metric for the hosts within the list that has this like Google Cloud Web Text. So we use this, we do this with using in keywords query.
I think it's really powerful because you can then say, like, if I explain what this query does in a simple term, right? Give me the average CPU of those hosts that have this particular tag on it. So give me the average host CPU, and only for those hosts that are in the list of hosts that have this particular tag. So it's a great use case, but the in itself is really powerful. It's also, again, like I always try to explain and kind of translate this to something that people may know if they're not that familiar with TQL. In SQL and SQL, we also have the same in comment. And so here we do the same thing. Yeah, and very powerful, especially if you want to get, like in this case, data from certain entities that match a certain criteria. That's a great use case. Yeah.
Definitely. And the next one I mentioned, array concat function. Here is a basic example where we concatenate two different arrays as a single result, single record. You can also see this analysis from this notebook directly. So there are only two, I think, examples we have in DKL for this release. But as you see also from on the websites, you will see all other DKL functions or maybe other features that we are trying to add more and more in our Playground environment as a single notebook. Hopefully, we will make it in the future a little bit more details, but this is the way that you will find it in from our sessions or from the documentation directly. Okay. Next one is with the security section. And we now added that loaded form parameter for Java software components on the remediation tracking analysis. And here you can see this affected process by a vulnerability, and we see the vulnerable component, and you can see this where it's loaded from. I think that will be really also powerful for you to understand where exactly this you have that vulnerability and where it's exactly affected. This is just one example you see in the screenshot, and this example is also available in the playground environment. When you click on it, and you will see the process details directly in there. Okay, let's go to the environment. Okay, I will not continue with other section. First, I will jump on security. As it is only one update, I was just thinking if we should combine different sections, but let's do this now. So from third-party vulnerabilities, and specifically this vulnerability, I will not show it from the beginning because I might lose this information. It's not easy to find an example that directly hears this. So therefore, it's just search third-party vulnerabilities as an application. You will see all these vulnerabilities. Once you have it, you will click on process group analysis. And this page will be the result showing one process group related to this vulnerability. And once I click on it, here you can see the vulnerable components and where it's loaded from. So that's, I think, again, that minor, maybe platform change, but important.
Yeah, it's very important because you want to know which other library may depend on that library, which library actually loaded that dependency in. And I think this is as you said, while it's a small change, it's very important because you always want to know who brought in a vulnerable library. Yeah, it's very important.
Exactly. Perfect. And the last section is about application observability. We enhanced support for OpenTelemetry and cloud-native monitoring with a new service type, which is called Unified Service. To understand what exactly it is, you will see this documentation. And if you need to reach out to our product manager, I think Arlindo Lima that made a great session about this unified service analysis. You will see that 15 or 20 minute session, how he talks about and how we exactly analyze this data coming from OpenTelemetry and cloud native environment in a really detailed way. I will also show you one example from my environment, I guess, not demo environment, but I think the best would be to watch the recording from Arlindo Lima. You can also find it in the release notes directly, so it will be much more useful for you to see how exactly that we integrate this. And I think the last one is that we have now detection attribute highlights. So these attributes are marked with an asterisk on the service and database services, show you which attributes we use for detection. In this case, this is joiner service, and we use the web service name and web service namespace attributes. We will also export this in demo environment and think it will really help you to set your detection rules in a better way in the environment so that you don't need to think about if the rule really worked or not. So this will help you to reduce the time that you spent on the analysis. Okay. So last example, the application observability. And here, as I mentioned, it's from demo environment. This is just, we don't have the playground environment as an example. This is the reason you don't see it. And in this example, in this service, this is the similar unified analysis sequence, but of course, different sections. It's set on the OpenTelemetry and cloud native environment. So from this page, you can see that how the service represents detected based on the spans and built in this OpenTelemetry in mind. So this will help you have an agent will support also for data APIs, just for information. If I check properties and tags, here you can even understand directly from here how we ingest these traces here.
So Berkan, so that I understand, basically what this is if you are a user of Dynatrace and you're solely ingesting OpenTelemetry traces, for instance, into Dynatrace, where our one agent does not detect the service, we are now providing a so-called unified service entity where we show you all the nodes for this particular service, and you can then obviously do your analysis on your traces. What I really also like here is that we automatically give you visibility into your key golden signals like response time, failure rate, and throughput. We also split by endpoint, so you get direct overview of every single URL endpoint that this particular service is actually exposing. So it's really cool. It's a great view on top of just your distributed traces that you ingest to Dynatrace. Yeah, perfect.
And you can also get benefit of Davis AI analysis, of course, and underlying resources with out of the box of baseline capabilities. And you can even create custom alerts based on your log information. So this definitely is an important update also. And the last one is, as I mentioned, here is the journey service. And the detection rules that we use for the service, apparently that only got from the web service name and namespaces. So you can always confirm this by using these asterisks to understand the service detection behavior in Dynatrace. So that's all, guys, that from my side. On the last part is please always share your opinions, feedbacks in our community channels or in Dynatrace chats. So our Dynatrace One team is always here to help you with all of your questions. You can start your any question directly in chat, and we can address those questions internally in our team to have you a smooth conversation transition. And for example, when you have a support ticket, when you have a chat conversation, we can automatically turn it to a support ticket, which will save lots of time from your analysis. So this is just one thing that's one of these several benefits. And also, please always check our webinars in university. You can find lots of great sessions from different product management team, development teams, from Andy most of the times that is a moderator. It's also a great resource for you to increase your knowledge in Dynatrace and different technologies. So basically, that's all from my end. Thank you very much, Andy.
Cool. Thank you so much. This closes the session for 274. Make sure to check out all the others as well. And Berkan and I will be back for the next releases. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Bye.